Alright, so everyone knows that the Batman Arkham series is the most popular and well-regarded set of superhero games ever made. Outside of maybe the Insomniac Spider-Man games, nothing has ever come close to the Arkham series in regards to sheer quality. The quality of the storytelling, the gameplay, the respect that the team at Rocksteady paid to the mythology of Batman, his rogues gallery, and the infamous Gotham City. Absolutely tremendous. Rocksteady pioneered what we now know as the free-flow combat system, where you would seamlessly jump from enemy to enemy, chaining combos together, all while looking incredibly slick and stylish doing so. In the Arkham games, it also helped really sell you on the idea of being Batman, where we've seen countless times in the comics and films that he is able to take on multiple opponents with unequaled skill. The Arkham games perfectly captured the immersion of putting yourself in the shoes of the crime-fighting hero, and it also, in a way, visually illustrated what many of the everyday criminals and thugs, from their perspective, likely would see if they ever encountered the Dark Knight. So, where exactly am I going with this? Well, with Arkane's next project being a superhero game focused on Blade, Marvel's sword-wielding, trench-coat-wearing, badass half-human, half-vampire, you might think that they would simply copy over the free-flow combat from the Arkham series for their Blade game, right? I mean, he basically has a very similar style of movement to Arkham Batman anyways. Take one look at his fights in the films, or even in another Marvel game like Midnight Suns, for example. Blade is a character that already has fluid motion during combat due to his vampirically imbued speed and stamina. On top of this, we've seen that the free-flow combat system can be adapted to different heroes and different franchises. Insomniac's Spider-Man titles for the PlayStation copied the free-flow system almost one-to-one, with some slight tweaks to better fit the character of Spider-Man and his abilities. The same goes for Monolith and their Lord of the Rings games, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, with one of the main benefits to those titles being that the combat system could afford to be more gruesome and violent thanks to the oftentimes dark and oppressive tone of the Lord of the Rings franchise. What if I told you, though, that I don't think Arkane Studios are actually going to be using the free-flow combat system for Blade, because they're simply too talented of a team to be directly lifting game mechanics from somewhere else, when they could just as easily and more expertly make something more unique to the character of Blade. Now, that's not to say that Arkane Studios can't take inspiration from other games to help influence the design of Blade's combat. In fact, I think there's one game in particular that could be serving as a very important and inspirational well to draw from, and you might just be surprised by what I think that actually is. Yes, the amazing samurai open-world action game Ghost of Tsushima will be, I think, the primary influence on Blade's gameplay, namely combat and stealth. Arkane Studios never settle for a boring combat system, and they would likely want something a little more methodical and nuanced for Blade. Now, I'm saying all of this with the big caveat that I have never actually played Ghost of Tsushima, so feel free to correct me on anything that I misunderstand or get wrong in the comments, because there's likely to be a lot. But the game focuses on a unique stance system during combat, where the main character has to switch fighting styles on the fly when facing specific enemy types, and I believe Blade can adopt a similar system. It's all about precision and timing your strikes just right to land the killing blow, and Blade could play very similarly, especially with interesting and challenging vampire variants to fight against. When playing playing stealthily as the Ghost, you use trickery, deception, and, most crucially, fear to outwit and eliminate your enemies. Blade is an infamous figure amongst the vampire rank and file, and he's basically the vampire boogeyman. This could lead to interesting stealth encounters where you can chain assassinate multiple vampires at once and, when spotted, strike dread into the eyes of the ones left standing, causing them to cower and flee at the mere sight of the Daywalker. Ghost of Tsushima was, and still is, considered to be one of the best third-person open-world action games released in recent memory, and Arkane Studios, I believe, might just be able to capture some of the inventive and unique mechanics of that game and incorporate them into Blade in some truly interesting ways. Now, I've only really scratched the surface of what I think Arkane Studios might be capable of by incorporating some Ghost of Tsushima gameplay elements into Blade, but now the most important task falls to you guys. I want to know what you think about this in the comments down below. Yes, feel free, once again, to burn me at the stake because I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima. I can handle the heat. Do you think I'm right that Arkane Studios might be borrowing pretty heavily from Sucker Punch? Or do you think that they might just cop out and take the easy way and just copy over the free-flow combat system from the Arkham games? Thanks so much for watching this video, everybody, and if you did enjoy, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel because we're going to be having a lot more discussions about the upcoming Marvel Blade game from Arkane the closer and closer we get to launch. Join our Discord server where you can talk to our amazing community and you can connect with other diehard Arkane Studios fans, no doubt like yourself. And remember that the outsider walks among us. I'll see y'all next time.